Well, hello there, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, no matter where you're at in the world. If you're not in the United States and you're American, happy Thanksgiving. If you live in Canada or some other country, have a great day. And today is Thursday, November 24th, 2022. And remember, no matter where you are or who you are, be thankful for everything that you do have, okay? And just know I care about all of you. I want you to be successful in your investing careers and your life, okay? And remember, I am Maskey Finance, and I'm not a financial advisor, not a CPA, not an attorney. Excuse me. I'm going to do something a little different today as a suggestion from, I don't want to get the name wrong, but I believe it was Dividend Dave who suggested this. Okay, it's Maskey's bookshelf. There's one of Maskey's bookshelves. We got another bookshelf in the house and another one over there. But we got way less books now than almost any time in my life. Even back in my 20s, once I was in the Navy, I bought a bunch of books and kept them for years. Every time I was in the Navy and I transferred, I got rid of usually boxes of books. When I left Virginia, I got rid of thousands of books. Thousands. I don't know how many thousands. It could have been 10,000 books. Literally, seriously. That was a lot of books I got rid of. So anyway, I got just a small stack of 5 books right here in my lap. I'm going to talk briefly about each one because I have not read all of these. I have read some of them, but not all of them. So I'm going to start with these two. These two both have something to do with finances and investing. The other 3 do not in a direct way, perhaps indirectly. You got to read them to find out if they do indirectly. Because every single book in some fashion is connected to financial literature. Even if they expand your or help give you knowledge of some other topic, any knowledge can help you in your investing career. Okay? That's why all of us, every single one of us, needs to read. If you do not read, listen to audiobooks. If you do not read or listen to audiobooks, what's wrong with you? Okay? Serious question. What's wrong with you? Why not? If you got dyslexia, go to the doctor. There's treatment for it as far as I know. You can train your eyes, I think, to read. If you struggle with the English language, okay, get books in your native language or practice in the English language. If you're an American and you know how to read and you don't, what's wrong with you? I'll say it again. What's wrong with you? Why not? Tell me why not below in the comments. Okay? Maybe you got a good reason. I'm curious to know. Why not? All right, so starting off these two, they're both written by the same gentleman. One of them you've seen in the background right back over there in the past. So I'll start with the one you haven't seen in the background by the same gentleman. I have not read this one yet. It's called Getting the Band Back Together, and it's by Dr. David Phelps, DDS. Dr. David Phelps, DDS. I met David Phelps briefly, ever so briefly. I didn't really have a talk with him. I thought I was going to talk with him later at the Eckerd conference on Amelia Island last March, April, May, whatever it was. And he was there. I thought he was going to speak to us, but then he didn't. But I saw him, said hi. I said, I'll catch up with you later. And then I guess he only stayed that day and he was gone. But David, I'm on his email list. I've been in touch with him. He's a dentist. Tell you briefly about him. When he was in college, just graduated from college, I think at either Baylor or Brown. I think it was a B school. He bought a investment property. It was back in the early 80s. He's a little bit older than I am. So I think it was 82, 83 when he bought some, I forget what it was, duplex, multifamily, single family, I forget. But he bought an investment property. He had his dad help him. And that was his first venture for himself into real estate. And he kept buying it, but I don't think he really got too serious about it. And then he had a daughter. He got married, had a daughter. And somewhere when his daughter was 10, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in that range, she had been diagnosed previously with, I think, don't hold me to all the facts, leukemia. And he thought she was going to die. She was in the hospital. Something had happened. He thought she was going to die. And he said he reevaluated himself. He said working as a dentist, he worked long hours. It was his practice. He was always working. He missed birthday parties and other things he missed with his daughter. And he said, I got to change the focus of my life. I got to get out of this line of work through investing. And I can't remember the timeline because it's been a while since I read his first book. I did read one of his books. I got it up there somewhere. And he ended up retiring from being a dentist. But then he has a program now for high net worth investors, primarily dentists and doctors and that sort of thing. But I'm somehow on his list to get stuff. And I've told him I'm not a dentist or a doctor, but he doesn't delete me from his list. And I get books periodically from him, sometimes free, sometimes I pay shipping, etc. Anyway, getting the band back together. Sorry. I don't think he's in that picture. I don't think. Unless that's, I don't know. I haven't read this book yet. I'll read you one paragraph. In getting the band back together, these rebel business entrepreneurs share their stories of rediscovering business and life on their terms. In opposition to the societal convention of work hard and someday retire, each built a stream of asset-based income which created new freedom of time. In addition, health improved and relationships were renewed with a greater purpose and meaning in each person's life. And he says at the top, are you a professional practice or small business owner who is frustrated, worn out, and searching for that mystical someday? Getting the Band Back Together by Dr. David Phelps, DDS. Second book is also by Dr. David Phelps, DDS. Inflation, the silent retirement killer. How to outwit the Fed and their extraction of your wealth. Let me see what I can read to you real quick here. And I got 3 more books after this. He's talking about inflation being at its highest point. And it says here, in Inflation, the Silent Retirement Killer, Dr. David Phelps examines inflation throughout history and reveals why the government needs inflation to fund their reckless borrowing and nanny state promises. Dr. Phelps also exposes how the great wealth transfer has begun and the proven steps that you can implement to protect your wealth. Okay. For some reason, I haven't read this one yet. I plan to read both of these very soon. Very soon. I'll show you one book I have below that I got from the library. And I've been reading it and I'm almost halfway through it. I got a couple more weeks so I got to return it. So I may read more, but it's different than all his other books. But this is called The Collected Stories by Louis L'Amour. So it's pretty thick. That's him when he was older. He's now passed away. Louis L'Amour wrote, I think, hundreds of books. Or a lot of books. These are short stories. Some of them are like 2 pages long. And there's a lot of them in there. Okay. They're dealing with different things from his life experiences. Okay. It's an interesting book. It says The Adventure Stories, Volume 4. Okay. Volume 4, he has collected short stories, Volume 1, 2, and 3. And maybe he has 5, 6, 7, I don't know. All right. The 4th book is also one I mentioned the other day previously. All right, by the same author, Louis L'Amour. It's called Bendigo Shafter. All right, that's a paperback copy I got. It's old. I got it probably from a thrift store or someplace. It's his biggest frontier saga, the sweeping adventure of the men and women who challenged the wilderness to build America. I'll read you the back real quick. They came west inspired by the boldest American dream. The American dream. Pioneers whose hands and hearts shaped the proud destiny of a nation. 7 men and 13 women and children. Strangers who shed their blood to build a community out of the Wyoming wilderness. And towering above them all was Bendigo Shafter, a giant of a man whose love and courage were the equal of the mighty land. It's a good book. It's a good book. It's a story, it's a novel, but I guarantee you, in those pages, you will find some great advice about life, about living life. Okay? All right. Here's another book. I read this book once a long time ago. I started reading it again semi-recently. I'm probably about a quarter way through it. Sometimes I start with multiple books at a time, and then one gets dropped to the side, and I come back to it later. So that's one of these. Because as I read it, I remember the story, because not only did I read the book, I might have read it twice before. Not only have I read it before, it was made into a TV movie. One that back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, when they used to make some TV movies that would be like shown over 3 days maybe or something like that because it was long, something like that. Okay, but anyway, this book is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. All right, Lonesome Dove. Lonesome Dove. The movie has Robert Duvall and Tommy Lee not Tommy Lee Jones. I can't remember the guy's name. It's a famous actor, and there's more famous people in that movie. But it's a pretty long book. It's paperback. This paperback has, knock on the door, to 950 pages. All right, I'll read you the back of this real quick, and then I'll wrap up this. Oh, the characters: Augustus McCrae, Woodrow E. Call, Lorena Wood, and Jake Spoon. That's 4 characters they talk about in the front. All right, on the back, it was over 4 months a New York Times bestseller. What They Lived, We Dream. A love story, an adventure, an epic of the frontier. Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove is the grandest novel ever written about the last defiant wilderness of America. Journey to the dusty little Texas town of Lonesome Dove and meet the kinds of unforgettable characters we have come to expect from the author of, he's also written, these are movies, older, 80s maybe, Terms of Endearment and The Last Picture Show. Heroes and outlaws, whores and ladies, Indians and settlers, richly authentic, beautifully written, always dramatic. Lonesome Dove is a book to make us laugh, weep, dream, and remember. Okay? I said the other day, with Charlie Munger's quotes, it's probably yesterday, pretty much every successful person is a reader. Okay? Are you a reader? Are you a listener? Do you somehow devour books? If you don't, do you want to be successful? If you think you're successful and you're not a reader, you're not developing this up here as well as you could be. All right? Stop making excuses. All right? Does reading put you to sleep? Okay, read earlier in the day so you're not so tired. Have a goal. Even this book's pretty thick. The other books, some of them are thick. Get a skinny book. That's a skinny book. Okay? This book is, let me check real quick. I say roughly 125 pages. Okay? If you have a goal of reading 2 pages a day, a little over 2 months from now, you'll finish the book. If you have a goal of reading 5 pages a day, 15, 30 a month, not even that. I'm not doing mental math very well. If you read a chapter a day, there's probably, I don't know how many chapters there are, 10, 15, 12, 10, 12, 15, 20. Okay? Read a page a day if that's all you can read. Stop making excuses. If you can't read, listen to audiobooks. If you're, as an example, if you're in law enforcement, you're an Uber driver, you're a taxi driver, you're a bus driver, maybe not a bus driver and taxi driver, you probably can't do it, but if you're in law enforcement, while you're driving around, especially during a slow period, can't you have an audiobook playing in your cruiser somewhere, listening to something? If you drive your personal car to work, can't you listen to an audiobook while you're commuting to work? If you commute 20 minutes one way and 20 minutes the other way, it's 40 minutes. 40 minutes of listening. You'll get it done. You'll get it done. Don't listen to talk shows. Talk shows are opinionated for the most part. Don't listen to the news on the various channels. They're all biased in some fashion. Okay? I know people, not to get political, but just briefly, who might die hard like CNN or die hard like Fox. Okay? They are extremely biased in 2 different ways. Because a lot of Americans fall in one of those 2 camps. I don't watch either one because they're both biased to the extreme. Okay? We got to come back together as humans in this world, as Americans, as part of nature. We got to come back together. All right? Get to the middle. Stop being the extremist. Stop having the conspiracy theory. Build that bubble around yourself by investing. Take care of your friends and your family. Maybe you can join me on my quest to move to a different country, and we can get 100 acres of land and build our castles and fence it all in and have the masky something or another. Okay? I may start it. Who's going to join me? All right, so with that being said, have a great Thanksgiving. Don't get in any arguments today if you're around friends or family. Enjoy yourself. Share the love. Share the knowledge about investing. Take care. Maskey's signing out.